Netanyahu to push Trump on Iran missiles in White House talks. Unsealed Watergate files show Nixon assured China of U.S. backing in 1971. Somalia plane makes emergency crash landing near Mogadishu. All 55 survive. Venezuelan opposition politician Guanipa under house arrest, Sun. Trump to direct Pentagon to buy coal to revive industry. Bloomberg News. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is set to meet U.S. President Donald Trump at the White House today, aiming to push for a tougher U.S. stance in nuclear talks with Iran. The meeting comes after indirect negotiations between Washington and Tehran resumed last week in Oman. Trump said he is considering deploying a second U.S. naval armada to the Middle East to increase pressure on Iran to reach a nuclear agreement. Netanyahu, who has long opposed diplomatic engagement with Tehran, is expected to urge Trump to take a firmer position not only on Iran's nuclear program, but also on its ballistic missile development. Ahead of the visit, Iran warned against what it described as destructive influences on diplomacy, signaling concern that Israel could try to derail negotiations. Netanyahu had originally been scheduled to visit Washington later this month, but reportedly moved up the trip as U.S.-Iran talks progressed. The meeting underscores rising regional tensions as Washington weighs its next steps in negotiations with Tehran while maintaining military pressure. Newly unsealed records from the Watergate era show that former U.S. President Richard Nixon assured China that the United States would support Beijing if it attacked India during the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War. The documents, released nearly 5 decades later, include 7 pages of Nixon's sworn testimony before the Watergate grand jury. They provide new insight into U.S. contingency planning during the Cold War and the risks Washington was willing to take amid escalating tensions in South Asia. In his testimony, Nixon outlined the reasoning behind offering assurances to China at the height of the conflict, when India and Pakistan were at war over what would become Bangladesh. The revelations shed light on the strategic calculations made by the Nixon administration during a period of intense geopolitical rivalry involving the United States, China, and the Soviet Union. A passenger plane operated by Starsky Aviation made an emergency landing near Aden Ade International Airport in Mogadishu on Tuesday morning, after experiencing a reported technical problem shortly after takeoff. The Fokker 50 aircraft, carrying 55 people, had departed for Puntland, but requested to return to Mogadishu soon after departure. Authorities said the plane landed safely but was unable to stop on the runway, overshooting the tarmac and coming to rest in shallow waters along the shoreline. All 50 passengers and 5 crew members survived the incident, and no serious injuries were reported. Video from the scene showed passengers walking away from the aircraft. United Nations and African Union forces were deployed to assist with rescue operations, and Somalia's transport minister was present at the site. Starsky Aviation praised the pilot's quick and calm response, crediting his actions with ensuring the safety of everyone on board. An investigation by Somalia's Civil Aviation Authority and the airline is now underway to determine the cause of the reported technical fault. Venezuelan opposition politician Juan Pablo Guanipa is under house arrest, his family said on Tuesday, 2 days after he was briefly freed from prison and then quickly recaptured by authorities. Guanipa, 61, a close ally of opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, walked out of prison on Sunday after more than 8 months in detention on politically charged charges. Hours later, unidentified armed men intercepted him in Caracas, and he was taken back into custody. His son Ramon Guanipa posted on social media that his father is now at the family home in Maracaibo under strict restrictions, including a ban on travel and public statements. "House arrest is still prison," he wrote, demanding full freedom for Guanipa and other political detainees. Venezuelan prosecutors said he was rearrested for allegedly violating the terms of his release, a claim his family disputes. Guanipa had spoken to the media and appeared with supporters during his short period of freedom, prompting authorities to revoke his release and impose the house arrest order. The episode comes amid a broader context of political turbulence in Venezuela. The government has begun releasing hundreds of detainees under pressure from the United States, and in connection with a proposed amnesty bill, but rights groups say many critics and opponents remain behind bars. U.S. President Donald Trump is expected to sign an executive order directing the Pentagon to support coal-fired power plants, according to a report by Bloomberg News citing a White House official. Under the plan, Trump would instruct Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to use government funding and Pentagon contracts to purchase electricity from coal plants for military operations. The report also says the Department of Energy will provide $175 million to upgrade 6 coal-fired plants located in Kentucky, North Carolina, Ohio, Virginia, and West Virginia. The White House is expected to host an event promoting coal energy, with coal industry executives and miners in attendance. Reuters said it was unable to independently verify the report, and the White House and Pentagon did not immediately comment. Trump has previously signed executive orders aimed at boosting domestic coal production, moves that contrast with global efforts to reduce carbon emissions and shift toward renewable energy sources.